And then tell me a little bit about your career with Sherry's, when you opened it.
Okay, we opened in April, on April 4th, about 1994. I had 3 weeks training. Back then, everything, no computers, everything was done by hand. We had tests. And if you can learn the mission of Sherry's, the president of the company came out to Airport Way. We're the #1 store because it's a training store. Everybody comes through us. And he said, can you repeat it? And, for $25, hey, I memorized it. And he gave you $25. And there's a plaque when you walk into Sherry's on your right-hand side, and my name, and some of them have passed on, And there's names of us that have been there for years. Yeah.
Do you know what's happening to that plaque now?
My boss, I didn't like the way they did Deb. They said, you're finished, you're no longer, we want the key, and they wouldn't let her go back and get nothing. So I'm sure the plaque is still hanging on there. I'm sure it is. Nobody's gone in there.
What's been going on over the last few months? When did you start to notice that something might be
Well,
wrong?
when they start not making pies, I said, oh, something's wrong, because that's what brings people, pie, Sherry's pie, And I noticed, and then I told you, they wouldn't let my boss order food for a week and a half. I'm like, wow. And praise my boss and my GM, because she's known me for 30 years. They would go and figure out money and go not to cash and carry, but they would go other places and keep us going. And then about 3 Wednesdays ago, I'm a breakfast waitress. I had no bacon, no sausage, no eggs, no this. So in my mind, I said, I got to sell. I got to make money. I wouldn't be working at 73 if I didn't want to work. And I said, how about ham? How about maybe pancakes instead? So we made it through that day. And then the next day, we finally got Cisco. They stopped paying their bills. We never had no Cisco. Some of them got cut off from lights. Some had no gas. They didn't pay our garbage for 2 months. And I said, please God, don't have the health department come out here. I won't say how it looked because I don't want people to know, but it was horrifying. I've never seen nothing like that in my life. I wouldn't go out there.
And as the owner of that store, as the person who opened that store, what was your,
He quit, the last couple of weeks, he won't even have nothing. He won't even relate to none of the managers, none of the GMs. They text him, they ask him to, and so this is when I got real scared. When I work Monday through Thursday. Our business is so bad, nobody works 5 days anymore. And so when Thursday come, Deb said, they won't answer me. They won't let me order any food. And I thought, wow, this, after 30 years, you kind of know about a restaurant. So we went Saturday, and my GM retired. She was the only one that saw the writing. She already had her training. She's with Buffalo. She's a GM. And we had a big party, and Deb said, Dee Dee, we ran out of eggs. By 9 o'clock, this was Saturday, a couple of days ago, we ran out of bacon. It doesn't look good. And I said, well, Deb, should I come Monday? She said, I'm going to tell you what. They told me, they finally got a hold of me. They told me I can't order no food, and I have to close. This is a 24-hour restaurant. Saturday, they had her close at 7. Sunday, they let them open, not 24 hours, at 11. They called, everybody that worked. I'm off on the weekend. And they closed at 7 o'clock with no food. And that's when she called me. She said, Dee Dee, you're out of a job. All the years I worked, almost 59 years, I've never seen so unprofessional for a corporation. They could have really said, hey, even a week. Because thank God I own my house. I work with girls that are just bought cars. They have young kids. They need their money.
Were you working because you have to, or were you working because you want to?
That's the thing. I'm not on Social Security. My husband works, and then he had 2 major operations. So begged him. He finally got on Social Security, but he does have a little 2-day job. They haven't called him back, but they did hire him. We don't know. So I just didn't want to go on Social Security. So I worked for 2 reasons. I worked because I love it. I've been working since I've been 14, and I worked, so I needed it, and I not as bad as most people, but I help grandkids, and some of my kids don't have jobs, and I buy school clothes for them, and I help them, you know. So it was kind of like yes and no.
Are you
know
going
what
to
I mean?
look for another job?
Yes, I am. I definitely am. My daughter, I don't know how to go online. I got all my kids that live here, not the ones in California and Arizona, lined up. So when I called, I was crying. I definitely cried, makeup running all over. And my husband said, "You'll get over it." My kids lived here. Well, Mom, do you want me to come by? Blah, blah, blah. I finally went by. I have a daughter that runs a dentist's office, and she said, "Mom, let's go on the computer." And she asked me information, and she applied. I didn't even know. She applied at Buffalo, and guess where it's at? It's at Cascade. So it's like, 10 blocks from my old job. And so yesterday we all met, some of us, my GM, Deb, they paid for everything. We stayed like 4 hours at Elmer's on Sandy Boulevard, and that was one of the jobs she told the cooks and stuff that came about. So I guess I applied, or my daughter said you submit it, and then they went to do unemployment for me, and they wanted to do it through the corona. Well, none of my kids can remember the emails. I don't have an email. Everything has got to go to my kids, and so now I guess the new law is you got to get a code. So my cook that I've had for 25 years, Lena, my boss helped her, and we're waiting on codes. They say it can be a week. Once you get the code, you can file. But yeah, I guess my daughter applied, and I thought I'd wait this week, and then when I come back, I'm gonna apply at Winko's. I went to get a money order on 122nd, and they said, "Why you look so sad?" I said, "Well, I've never been out of a job, and I'm out 30 years. I didn't know." And so they said, "Well, we need," I said, "Can I do a cashier? Because you got to deal with so much." And they said, "Come back." So they told me their store number. So I thought I'd apply there. And then, like I told you, my daughter did Buffalo and one more place, Fred Meyer, so I could walk. So yeah, I will apply for unemployment, but if a job comes up, I'm job.
Not ready to retire.
Heck no. I got 2 new needs, 7 weeks, and this is 2.5 weeks. I run around all those young people, because if you don't get the door, you don't make money. So you gotta move. You gotta move.
What are you going to miss the most about this? Why did
Oh
it make
my
this
God, my customers. Oh my God. Over the years, I'll never forget, I had a flat tire, and it was about 5 years ago, and one of my regulars was sitting right by the kitchen, and we were behind. I was telling my co-worker at the time, I said, "Oh my God, I hope I can make it, blah, blah, blah." And it was Christmas, 2 days before Christmas, and she gave me $100 bill. She said, "Dee Dee, you've been my waitress for 10 years. Buy yourself a tire." I've gotten $100 tips. I've got 50. I've gotten stiff, but I don't get mad because everything's so expensive nowadays in restaurants. I think that they want to go out and they don't realize they have no tip. But that's all right, because the next person might give me $20 to make up. I've had presents. Last week, one of my customers that works at Walmart in Washington, she brings me this real expensive candy. My husband eats it all. I never get a piece of it, but things like that. I've had customers, oh God, buy me presents. I have a customer for 20 years. They're Hawaiian. They come in and see their grandchildren. Once a year, they ask for me every Christmas, and they bring me a present. Last year, they brought me macadamia nuts. One time, they made me a lei, $10 all at once. I just spent that the last couple of months. That I'm gonna miss my customers. My God, I've watched them grow, die, get married. I'm gonna miss my coworkers. I've had coworkers. Deb, my GM, they talk to, she's been, not the GM, my boss, 20 years. Michelle, I worked 20 years with her. I worked with another one, 20 years. And then my cook, 25 years. Steve, 30 years. We have a bond. We've been together for years. I'll never have that again. Unless a new restaurant and we all flock together, But we said we're going to meet once a month. Now, I don't know how long this will happen. My GM said, it's all on you, Dee Dee. Your turn to pay, because we paid for everybody. And I said, hey, just let me know. So I had the money, you know. So my customers and my coworkers, my customers are so good. Some you just want to kill. And then they turn around and they just, you know, just were so good. You know, just good in other ways. You know what I mean?
What was your first thought when Deb called you and told you?
I was devastated. I sat in here, I was on the line with one of my daughters, Lynetta, and I said, Lynetta, this is Deb. What is she calling me for? And Deb said, Dee Dee, I don't even know how to tell you. I text everybody, but because you don't have email, you don't have nothing, I have to tell you. I said, you know what, Deb, I thought we'd at least make it to her week. I can't believe it. She said they treated her so bad. They just said, you can't get nothing out. We want to meet you the keys. She lives in Washington. They waited till she went to Washington and wanted her to come back Sunday night. She said, no, I'm meeting the gang Monday and I'll meet you. And then yesterday, he didn't show up, and we were and he wanted the GM to do it, and Deb said, no, you're going to face me. So when we all left Elmer's, she was going to Sherry's Airport Way to give her final key. They treated her. I just can't believe they didn't let us know. I'm not even saying about the money. Realistic, life is real. This is what life is about. But they could have given those young people. I own a house. What about the people I work with, the younger people? You know what I mean? I'm thinking about, you know. But anyway, they'll be okay. You know, yesterday, almost all of them were applying for unemployment. Yeah. Everybody thinks I should retire, but I'm ready. I'm ready to work. I wish somebody hired me today. I'd tell them I couldn't start the Monday, though, because I got to go see my baby, you know. But, yeah, and I did the hurricanes. You know that, don't you? I belong to the Red Cross. I did my job, Sherry's, let me off. I did Katrina for 3 weeks and 2 days. I only took 1 day off, me and this girl from Detroit. I fed 2,000 people a day. I enjoyed it. I learned all about life, what suffering is. Then I turned around and I did Ike. I didn't like that. I did it in, this is all Louisiana, in a town called Katu. The reason why I didn't like that, I did it 2 weeks as I lived with the survivors and they treated the Red Cross really bad. I did so much, you know. I did a lot in my life, you know. And I want to go now and do hurricanes, but my children, my husband won't let me because I'm 73, and they said it would be probably too much. Because, you know, when you work for the Red Cross, you don't get paid. You do it because you want to do it, which I don't mind. And but you got to get off the cots. And I can barely get out of the goddamn bed, so I don't know if I'd have to have a coworker pick me up out of the cots, you know. But, yeah, I'm definitely missing Sherry's. I can't, 30 years is a long time. I started when I was 43, and I'm 73 now. Yeah, a long time. A lot of relationships, see people died. I had a coworker I worked 20 years with. She got cancer and just died within a month. So me and Kim went over there. She let us come over and see her on the weekends for a month. You know, we watched her completely go to zero, you know. But you remember the good times, everybody bring you presents, you know, some you like, but you always thank them, you know, you always thank people, you know.
What was it about Sherry's that made it so popular, such a landmark place in Oregon?
Well, pies. That's what everybody was. When we went downhill, they just couldn't believe we didn't have pies. And good old Steve, I call him my work son, we look just like each other. He's like 6'8", you know, and here I am 4'2". I'm going to his house for for Halloween, and he said, bring your grandchildren. Well, I'm only bringing one grandchild that lived here till about a year ago, and my oldest. I might bring a couple more. And he said, well, I'll make you pizza, but you got to give out candy. I guess at his house, he has 700 people in Fairview. So, you know, I'm going to hook up with him. I'm trying to keep the contact. And he went out of his own money 2 weeks ago and made 3 pies. Do you know, at the end of my shift, from 8 to 3, the pies were gone. That's what brought people in. Pies.
I hear you're a bit of a celebrity. Tell me about that interaction.
He came to me. I didn't help him. Steve helped him, and I went over and checked their ID, and I said, "Why pay $6.99 for a glass of mimosa? How many of you guys get out your IDs?" Because like people look young to me because I'm 73, and I said, and they all got out their ID. I said, if you could all agree, get a craft, and you'll save $16.99. You'll save like $7. And I checked their ID, and then I went over and hi. I do that. You don't have to be in my section. I talk to you if I know you or whatever. And then the guy came over and he said, "Hey, Dee Dee, I want you to come to my concert." I looked at him and I thought, this is a little kid, 23, 25, whatever. And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I'm going to put you on the VIP list." And I said, "Well, I got Bible study." And he said, "Tonight." And he said, "Excuse me." And he said, "Bring your Bible study." And I said, "Oh, they're not going to come." He said, "Well, I'm going to put you in a VIP." So I redid my makeup, took a bath, got dressed like little cute outfit as you can be at 73. And I fell asleep. And last week, like I told you, one of his friends that live in Portland said he wanted to talk to me, but he's in a meeting in Colorado. So I said, fine, because I was busy. I had half a restaurant last Wednesday. So finally he got out of the meeting. He FaceTimed me, and I said, "Hey, what do you think?" He said, "I left there and you had red hair." My hair is dark, but I've been doing the reds and all that. Try to jazz up. And I went from red to here and just went to dark and blue and I went like this. And he laughed and giggled and he said, "Next time I'm in, I want to take you to dinner, and I just want to take you anywhere you want." And that's when I said, "Well, I hate steak, but I do like crab." And then a couple of days ago, his manager called me at home and said he comes Friday. And I said, "I'm sorry, I got to go to Arizona," because I had already bought the ticket to see one of my sons. So she said, in 2 weeks, they're getting a schedule, and she'll let me know when he's here. And he's gonna put me in a VIP room to watch him. And I said, "Well, I want to come out and kind of dance a little bit, And he's going to take me out to eat. A lot of people said, I couldn't understand what a young person would see in me. Well, my kids explain that I'm building up his, what do you call them, likes and dislikes. I don't know. You got to understand, I'm from a different generation. When I graduated in 1969, women, first year they got to wear pants. First year, the electric typewriter. So I'm really like my younger kids, because I had kids when I was 43, so I have two 30-year-olds. And they say, "Oh, Mom, God, you and Dad went to school in Flintstone cars." They really think we're old school. But yeah, I didn't know about the dislikes and likes and all that. So my son that's 34 told me, "Well, you're helping him." I said, "Helping him do what?" And I guess it makes him look like, I don't know. I'm not into all that, But that's part of my life.
How did you feel when you found out you missed the concert the next day?
I felt this big. So I called Moses, the one I'm going to go see, and he emailed him and said, "Hey, my mom said the best of luck. She listened to some of your music at work," because my boss went on her phone, and that, she wishes you the best. If you ever come back to Portland, she wants to see you. And then that's how I got, how he saw him last week on, what is that, FaceTime? And then his manager called me and told me to save her number, but I don't know where it's at. But they'll get a hold of me. If he wants to see me, he does,
Do they know about Shari's yet?
No, they do not know. And I'm going to tell you, it's so weird. Today, where did I go today? Where would I go? Oh, I went to get gas, and my husband had to go with me because I don't know how to pump gas. Even though I lived all those years in Chicago, and I've been in Oregon this time 30 years, so I don't know how to pump. So we went to that Arco at about 6 o'clock this morning, and he said, he knows I come in my uniform. He said, "Did Shari's close? I just heard about it. I was a kid when I went there." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, oh. So a lot of people, my boss strode and showed all of us yesterday when we're at Elmer's, how people are really going to miss it. So.
Do you have any questions? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just not to talk bad because I am a Christian, but I just don't like the way they did it. Not because I really believe that God's going to send me a job, and if not, I guess I could be on unemployment. But I don't. That's the last thing. But I just didn't think the way they handled it. They could have we're not asking about the money. They could have let people know a week ahead, but to turn off and not let you order food, I just never seen nothing at my age like that. It's just so, I don't know how to describe it. It was just a shock at my age, just to go call me and say, I don't have a job, 30 years, that's it.
They could have given you the plaque with your name at least.
Hey, I need everything.